Hi everyone, my name is Emily Michael and I am here to teach you about coffee. So to begin with, coffee actually comes from a cherry, seen in this picture, and then there's a seed within that cherry, and that is later roasted and becomes a bean, like what you usually see and what you usually make your drip coffee with. And something important that you need to know is that grinding a coffee bean can make it accessible for drip coffee, cold brew, and espresso. So it's really just in the way that you grind your coffee bean, and that's how you can make different traditional specialty drinks or just your regular at-home drip coffee. So there's a lot of stages and methods that go into the process of coffee, but I'm going to begin with the main stages in roasting, which are the drying stage, browning stage, and the development stage. So first, in the drying stage, there's a humidity of 8 to 12%. This stage takes only about 4 to 8 minutes, so it is a very short stage. It actually does not take very long to roast coffee beans. The next is the browning stage, and this is what turns that seed into a darker colored bean, like what we usually see, what we buy from the store. At 320 degrees, it'll start to smell like toast or like hay. So kind of a funky smell, doesn't smell like coffee. And then this starts the Maillard reaction, and this is when the sugars and amino acids react to make different melanoids. And a melanoid is a different aroma and color compound. So that's basically how you make light roasts, medium roasts, and dark roasts of coffee. And then there's also some roasts that are like a mix of both coffees. So it would take two different roasting processes to make a light medium roast, because you would be making a light roast and a medium roast and bringing them together. So some roasters slow this process to ensure bold flavors. And then, like I said before, this can just make a bold, dark flavor or a more mild, light or medium flavor. And then after that, we have the development stage. The development stage is where the reaction becomes exothermic and the coffee cracks. Excuse that motorcycle or whoever's driving by. So this is when collected energy causes the crack. So like you've seen a coffee bean before, I wish I had one to show you, but there's always like a little crack down like the middle of it, and so that would happen in the development stage. So this stage is vital for the flavor. It will bring out the bold flavors or the more mild flavors, and it takes out more acidity. This process is where you should slow it down and just like cook it like low and slow, like people say is good, like when you make barbecue. Same goes for coffee beans. And next I'm going to talk about the different roasting processes. So there are two of them, and I got my source is Espresso International. The first process is going to be traditional. It is a drum roasting process, and it is usually used for like smaller coffee shops. So like bigger coffee shops will use the next one I'm going to introduce, and so like smaller coffee shops, probably like the coffee shop over on Ray and the 202, I believe. That would probably be a coffee shop that uses more of this method. Not 100% sure though, so don't quote me on that. But this is when raw coffee is poured into a circular rotating drum, and the drum is heated externally, and it can be electric or with like wood or oil. It takes a lot of practice to do this method. It's been around for a long time. Like, this is the original way. That's why it's called the traditional drum roasting process, is because it's been around for a long time, and when people first started making coffee, this is the roasting process that they used. Next is going to be the industrial process. This is a faster, more efficient way. So coffee shops, more like Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks, would use this process because they mass produce coffee beans. People buy them from the grocery store. People buy them from Starbucks. Starbucks is everywhere. There's always a line in the mornings. So they need a lot of coffee beans. So this is a large perforated drum, and it has a spiral conveyor, which allows it to move around more beans, and it is a lot bigger. The roasting process will be 1 to 5 minutes, so it is not long at all. You would think that it would take a lot longer, but it really doesn't. And then after that, the coffee is cooled off with water. So next, I do want to show you guys a few different things that create your lattes. So if you're going to go to a coffee shop and you want a latte or an Americano, anything besides like drip coffee, you're going to use something that looks like this. Your barista will. This is a grinder, and there are different grind settings. Like I said earlier, if you grind it more coarse, you could use it for cold brew or drip coffee, and the more fine you go, the better it is to make espresso. And this is all important when using an espresso machine that looks like this. This is actually the one that I have at my work. It'll have 3 different they're called group heads. Oh, you can't see it. But this little thing right there, and then you click the button for however many shots you would like to make. But the time and the time that it takes for the water to go through affects the different taste of the coffee. Also, this is a tamp, and after you put the portafilter, this is a portafilter. After you put this into this little slot in the grinder right down here, it'll shoot out the grinded beans, and then you tamp it down with this, and this will apply 30 pounds of pressure, and it will create a slower way for the water to run through the espresso beans so you taste the roasting process. So there's a lot that goes into it, and when cleaning these machines, it is very, very meticulous, and it takes a long time. There are like cleaning portafilters. This is like this is like the easiest way to describe these things. Like it takes a lot to make coffee, and it's a really cool process. So I hope you guys learned a lot, and next time you go to a coffee shop, you can point out the portafilters, and you can look at their espresso machine. You can find their grinder, but you can find all of the different appliances they use, and you can also ask them what roasting process they use. And yeah, so that was my informative speech. I hope you guys are leaving with a little bit more coffee knowledge than you came with. Thank you for listening, and I hope that I get some good reviews. Thanks, bye.